Okay. Hello, everyone. Yeah, we have a very exciting stream tonight. Yeah, we have a special guest who will be joining us in about 20 minutes. But I thought I would get started a little bit early, and yeah, just because we've got some nice stuff going on with Bitcoin, haven't we? Yeah. We've got 16 people in here already. That is cool. So yeah, at 9 p.m. we will have our special guest, VWAP Trader 1, JJ, joining us. I'll give him an introduction when we get started. Yeah, excited for this. It's kind of crazy that this is the first. Yeah, I've been doing this for what, 3 weeks, and we got a special guest on. Right, I'll have to do the usual things. Senti, I see you in the Discord. Yeah. Oh, who? Yes. I think we know who helped make this happen. Yes, PP, go get that beer. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Senti. Hey, Bruno. All right. I am going to, because it's about 1:45, I need to send some links out. I need to post this up on the old Twitter. Or get ready for the old to post it on Twitter anyway. Okay. All right. Let me. So many screens open at one time. I forget where I'm supposed to be. This one. Nope, that's the wrong one. Hey, Prince Rupert. Hey, DJ Switch Off. Yeah, good to see you all in here. All right. Yeah, we've had a let's looking at the Discord. Let's just bring the Discord up here. Thanks, P, for posting this. Good man. Okay, now I can see everything. Casavea. Yeah, the stream's going to remain online afterwards. So as soon as we finish streaming, the video will be available on YouTube as a normal video. So you'll be able to watch that whenever you are free. Yeah. Yeah, I just I got started early because I just wanted to cover a little bit of Bitcoin really, because it's yeah, what were we saying? Just that thing. It's typical that we've got a market maker on the show today. When everyone's expecting lower, what kind of pattern do you want it to paint? Like, you take these lows, get everyone into shorts, and off we go. So yeah, really nice move up from Bitcoin here, and if it can continue to hold this daily area and back above this range, then yeah, looks pretty good for a bullish weekend. Anna, yes, get that wine. I won't be having a beer yet myself on stream. I'll remain professional throughout with my water bottle, and yeah, I'll have a beer afterwards. Yeah, Senti. So if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask, we're going to keep this as just a really light format. I've never done an interview of anyone before, so we'll keep it as just like a conversation. That's what I want this to be, and hopefully it's really useful for everyone. We'll just see where things flow. But if you have any questions for JJ, please do, yeah, please do post them in the YouTube chat or onto the Discord. I'll repeat this again when we get started. Jaffa, bring all the market makers. Yes. Okay, let's post this up onto YouTube. Joining. Can't type. So I'm just doing a Twitter post. I really need to get better at doing the whole Twitter thing. Okay. Yeah, if anyone does have a Twitter account, please do go over to Twitter. Please do repost the link that I've just sent out on there. My Twitter, the Twitter for this for Toros Crypto is on the links in the Discord as well, so you can find it there. PP without beer, it's not Luke's Friday night stream. I did have a takeaway earlier. I did have a curry, so I had a beer with my curry. Just as a little celebratory end of the month thing going on there. Yeah, another bullish weekend. We haven't actually had a bullish weekend for a while. I can't remember the last bullish weekend that Bitcoin had, or crypto had. It must have been back in January, because I haven't traded weekends since back in January. We've had breakouts on Bitcoin, haven't we? We've had like big moves up and things that were already kind of like in the works, but that was crushing alts every time. It feels like it's a similar thing now, with Bitcoin moving up and getting some like, this is really nice from Ethereum. This is what every time it starts to paint like a trend line and people start to see it, it's like, nah, I'm coming down into next support. But it's just doing its normal thing of finding support, getting a bounce off its support, and it'll be nice if we come back down here on Ethereum, but we do have this right now, so I've added to my long on Ethereum. Jay, could we discuss the recent move of JJ? Yeah, so we'll definitely be discussing Bitcoin with him. So once he joins us, so he'll be with us in about 15 minutes. And once he joins, we will go over things with Bitcoin. He doesn't trade Bitcoin himself, but I have ideas for that, and it'll be really interesting to get his thoughts as someone from traditional markets and who trades the ES and stocks, and kind of has worked with a lot of companies that have gone public, how that relates to cryptocurrency, and just how similar we can see moves like this for us coming from like crypto world, to see these big moves up, which are just clearly market maker kind of things going on, this big short squeeze going on. It's a really interesting time to be getting his opinion on things like this. Thoy Imma, I'll be going over, so probably about 10 p.m. I'm going to do a bit more just on Bitcoin and crypto itself. Like, today's stream is going to be just a really interesting different talk for today. I'm not going to be going over what I think of targets and doing altcoin analysis and things like that yet. I will once yeah, once we've had our main topic of conversation through for tonight, then I will be going over the market a bit more, and that's when we can crack open a beer and start to think of where this market is going in the future and all of those kind of things. Okay, let me. Yes, everyone smash up the likes. Do share this with everyone you know. Get your friends, your family, your mum, your dad, your dog, your cat, your sister, your gran. Get everyone along for the stream. Let's do this. Let's get some viewers in here. Just have a little look at what else is going on. It's typical. Someone I know made a Litecoin video earlier and then it immediately started dumping. Never mind. Gonna lose this weekly. Where's this weekly from? Here. Okay. It looks like it's getting ready for another push higher. Wicked sick. Thanks a lot, mate. Yeah, I've been doing this. I've wanted to do this for a while, and I've had like the Toros Crypto thing since 2017, but now definitely felt like the right time to really, start doing this properly. And it's it's been really good fun so far, and I hope everyone who is in the Discord, who has been watching the streams, I hope everyone's been enjoying it. It's just been really good. Okay, so we've got about 10 more minutes now before JJ will be joining us. We have 41 people viewing. Smash up the likes. Do all of that kind of stuff. Do share this out to as many people as you can. I wonder if I should... I've never actually posted this on none of my actual real life. No one in real life knows what I do. They all think I'm still doing music. But maybe it's time to start telling them what I do now. All right. Where's Anna's banner? I'm not going to do that. I've got Zoom open. I've got the Bitcoin chart open. I've got me on camera here. I'm doing a live stream. If I try to put the banner up, I'll probably end up destroying my computer. That's that's one for when I actually have a computer that can handle this stuff. I mean, I could try it. Shall I try the slow motion banner? I could try. Imagine if when JJ joins us, shall I put on one of those camera filters as well? So I'll be on camera and I'll just have the banana face or something. What up, skeptic? Taran, thank you. Thank you very much. Order that PC. I need to. I need to get it ordered. Yeah. Annoyingly, I have bills and stuff to pay, and a new computer is so expensive still, so... Yeah, we'll see. Okay. What's the daily looking like? I've got all these just horizontal levels on my chart, and it's so messy now. That can go. This one clearly getting a reaction. That weekly, that can go. We don't need to be thinking about that. We don't need to be thinking about that. We have this. And we have this. Cool. 25th legacy, you've not missed anything yet. We're only just getting started. So in 5 minutes, that's when the real fun starts. So yeah, I just wanted to get this started early just to get people in here. If you want to go grab yourself a beer, if you want to go shout out to your neighbors to go watch the stream, you've got about 5 minutes left. So do that. I expect everyone to run out of their front door with a banner, naked. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your family. Let's get this up to 100 viewers. That'll be fun. Can you ask the market maker to dump BNB? Yeah. Senti getting this gin and tonic. Yes. Yes. $45 people. All right. Let's have a look over here. All right. Okay, so everyone, we have JJ now in the call with us. So for anyone who doesn't already know, JJ was a market maker for 20 years experience. making markets, painting the patterns that we all trade, and yeah, being the one on the other side of retail. So it's yeah, it's
Yeah.
brilliant to have JJ joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. Really, it's I'm moving to London, so this is great. I'm making some friends before I move.
Yeah, yeah, it's brilliant. So you're based in Canada at the moment, aren't you? So.
Yeah, I'm basically what they call the Great White North. I'm looking after an elderly parent in a place called Saskatchewan, so it's uh, it's it's a place where it's -50 in the wintertime, so it's
Wow.
yeah, it's a great place to watch the tape because there's nothing else to do. So
Yeah.
it's too cold to go anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, with the whole world in lockdown at the moment and everything as well, it's brought a lot more people to the markets, and it's really yeah, it's been quite
Oh yeah,
an
it's
interesting thing. Like the whole of the last year for me has just been yeah, just what else can you do but sit in front of a computer and watch the charts all day and trade
well,
them? It's
exactly, and I mean that's what I've done all my life.
yeah.
But it's well, not the charts now. Like I used to build the chart. Now I just watch them. But
Hmm.
it's yeah. In Saskatchewan, lockdown wasn't really that hard because nobody wants to go out when it's -50 anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine, and it's actually quite funny. So me and JJ had a brief conversation earlier in the week, didn't we? And your the generator went down mid conversation, so hopefully we don't
Well,
have.
yeah, and the thing is, I live in a city,
Mhm.
and I live in a city, and you know, live in an apartment building. So the only good thing about that is I live on the same block as the power company itself. So they usually fix it really quick.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you got it
Yeah,
fixed quickly
yeah.
for today. Um, so yeah, I thought I'd keep this. As if you don't know already, we've only been a community for like about 3 weeks now. So
Oh,
yeah, for
cool.
myself doing
That's
the
great.
YouTube thing, and we're mainly a trading community. We trade Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and yeah, just really kind of educational and yeah, just learning the charts together really, and
That's
yeah,
great.
everyone trading together. So it's so yeah, it's amazing to have you on. You're the first ever guest
Oh, that's
on
great.
this
Well,
live
I'm
stream.
very
So
honored. How many people do you have in it right now?
so we've got about 250 people
That's
within
great.
yeah. So
That's wonderful.
this is within we.
Because
Mhm.
yeah, that's. I mean, in a short period of time, it's really good. I think trading communities are really good if
Yeah,
they're properly run and managed.
yeah.
They can be very, very helpful. Especially if there's somebody who's around who's actually done it or knows what they're doing. That can help. That's always nice.
That's it. Yeah, I think with I guess it's probably the same with stock markets and things as well. I do trade stocks a little bit, but it's mainly cryptocurrency. And the thing with crypto is you get it's so hard to get like accurate information and from decent people who aren't just yeah, there's so much because
Yeah.
there's so many projects going around, and there's all these things in 2017, and you had like the pump and dump schemes where people would just
Oh yeah, there was
it's
some guy I
yeah.
was watching on YouTube,
Hmm.
and he positions himself and then he starts talking the thing up and people start following him like he's Tony Robbins of crypto and he's like dumping it in their buying. And
Yeah,
I'm like, if I did this, they would throw me in jail in the
yeah,
stock market. But
yeah.
there's no
It's
rules in crypto because there's nobody policing it, right?
that
So it's you can do whatever you want.
yeah,
You
that's the
know,
thing. It's
you want to
still
run mob, you want to run mob money through it and clean it, go ahead.
mhm.
Nobody cares, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's the wild
uh,
west over here in crypto world. It's
oh
great fun because
yeah,
it moves so quickly, but yeah, it's certainly the unregulated. It's getting better because there
it's
are
like pinching
regulations
stocks in
coming in and
1990.
things, and we've got more liquidity now, so you don't see that so much, but it's still it still has that scammy kind of a lot of people from outside of the crypto space still see it as being this just crazy world where people
Oh,
get scammed
I
and things.
I think well, I'm actually old and I've never traded crypto.
Hmm.
I have I have an insane amount of respect for whoever the hell invented this stuff
Yeah.
the concept of taking something that's nothing and then marking it up to 50 grand for a piece of nothing and selling it, that's just genius.
Yeah.
That's absolute genius. And the cost to do that probably was nothing, right? Even a stock promoter has to go to a printer and pay to have stock certificates printed up. You don't even have to have that, right?
Yeah.
And I know the technology is cool and everything with, a blockchain, but, you have people who invented coins for a lark, and because of low interest rates, right? They're billionaires, right? Because we have so much free money rattling around in this world right now that we're inventing crap for people to buy. It's wonderful.
Pretty much. Instead of spending your money on things that are actually useful, people are just buying these coins that a lot of the time, and again, it's changing a little bit, it's getting better, but a lot of the time it's especially in 2017, these things didn't even have a product. People were just putting thousands of dollars, like more, into a white paper. And but it's
I have nothing against people who made money from it. I think that's wonderful, right? And contrary to most older traders, when they see a new market, they're like, "Oh, these kids, they don't know what to." I'm like, you know what? When you're 22, you should have 5 million in cash, because what the heck are you going to do with 5 million when you're in a walker when you're 80 years old, right? Make the 5 million, go spend it and start again, right? And have a good time. Just don't kill yourself, right? But I have nothing against young people making money. I'm all for it, right? But it'd be nice if you try and hold on to some of it, in the end, don't marry these things,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I wish I did have 5 million to put in. That would be nice. But that's it, and that's what we're what the kind of community that we're doing here is just trading this thing seriously, seeing it as an asset that is tradable and not just you get caught up. And like you were saying, and I was going to ask you about this, it's the whole kind of, and we see a lot of this going on within cryptocurrency, and again, yourself being a market maker for 20 years, you've been part of the same kind of thing. And in cryptocurrency, it's just magnified. It seems now it's just fast, like maybe even more fast paced.
I dreamt of, actually, I had this dream about 20 years ago of selling people things that actually didn't exist. And it came from the idea, one of my guys was a programmer, and he'd worked on Battlestar Galactica and done the CGI and all that stuff. And he was saying how people buy things inside a video game, they will actually spend real cash for something that's virtual. And I thought, because I'm a person who sells, I'm not a buyer. I like to sell a lot of product to a lot of people. So that's how I've been schooled, right? Because I created markets. So if you had 200 million shares of a stock, I create the market that you can sell that into. I create the liquidity, right? That's my whole job. And I would use market makers to do that. There were like tools, and I fed them order flow. So when I remember hearing about that, I was like, wow, if you can get people to buy something that doesn't even exist, that's pretty cool. Now you look at NFTs. They've got virtual horse races. They've got, it's just, if you can think it up, somebody will buy it. Right. And I think that's wonderful for the people who are selling, because they have liquidity and just make hay while the sun shines,
Yeah, that's it. And that's, really interesting hearing it from that perspective, because I think that's the thing, as being a retail trader, and especially in a market, probably in any market, I think retail just has that natural urge to buy rather than to sell, don't they? So if it's a company that they like, they'll just want to buy it. It doesn't matter where the price is. If they see price going up, they'll just want to buy it. And I guess the job as a market maker is like, okay, you're buying this, we want to
see, what we have a saying for that: when the ducks are quacking, feed them. Right. The thing is, just don't overfeed them so they get sick, right? So that's why you want to always have the price, kind of creeping up or staying stable. And that's what we would do. We would manipulate price to see where you guys were coming in to buy, If it's too high, oh, bring it down a bit. Oh, now they're nibbling. See, and the thing is, human beings chase price.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same reason why they'll stand at a nightclub.
Yeah.
Right. In a line at a nightclub. Right. I used to be a bouncer. That's what I did before I was, when I
Okay.
was going to university. Right.
Hmm.
I worked in nightclubs. So, 9 o'clock, start a lineup. The club's empty,
Yeah.
but people are standing in line. Right. And then you let a few really pretty girls pass the lineup and even more guys stand in line.
Yeah.
Right. That's advertising.
Hmm.
Right. And that's what price is. When it goes up, it's advertising and it's enticing people to chase it.
Yeah.
Right. And in two-sided markets, that's why they always end up buying at the high and get stopped out.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're chasing price into our selling, and we're selling and they're buying.
Yeah, that's a really interesting analogy, actually, when you put it like that, is that it's true. If you were to walk past, like you go down the high street or something and you walk past a bunch of clubs, which one are you going to want to go into? It's going to be the one that has a queue of people outside. And the same with a restaurant. You're not going to go into the empty restaurant. You'll be in the one that's full. And when you think about that in terms of markets, and I guess this is what then really separates the good traders and the investors and from the ones that are really buying the highs, is that
see, the thing is, the smart money are the ones who fund these things development stage, right? In the US markets, you're able to actually fund something and get millions of shares for 0.0001 cent.
Yeah.
Right. So if you open that thing at a penny, you're already in profit.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why, you take a stock to 50 cents and we're selling millions of shares because we own it at virtually zero.
Yeah.
Right. That's called zero cost paper. And that exists in any market, because in any market that you see in AIM or, the large exchanges, the companies that fund these public companies always get a discount to the market trading price.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in the old days, what we would do is we'd short the company down before we talk to them. Right. So if a company's stock is at $20-$30 and they're looking for $10 million or $15 million or whatever, my guys will call me and say, JJ, lean on this thing. Right.
Yeah.
So I start shorting it using the offshore accounts. I push the price from 20 down to 12. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then my guys go in there and go, you know what? We'll give you the 10, 15 million bucks, but you know what? Your stock looks like crap. So we're going to need a 30 or 40% discount to $12.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll hold it there. Right. Using a bunch of manipulative trading techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they do is once the company issues them that stock, they cover their short position.
Yep.
Right. And then with the rest of it, I rip the stock from 12 to 30.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how you make $300-400 million in a week. Right. That's what funds do. This is how the money is made.
Mm-hmm.
So we as retail traders have to know which side that we want to be on at the right time.
Yeah.
Understanding the business.
Yeah, I think just bringing it back to Bitcoin, because that's what a lot of the audience here, they understand. And we had earlier on in the year, we had the news that Tesla had bought a bunch of Bitcoin, and that's on their balance sheet now. But it was very clear then, because you could see, because obviously the SEC filing and it told you the date that they bought and the price that they bought it at. That was after price had a 25% correction within a few days. And that's the thing with the liquidity in this market. It was just like, okay, that's the top. Tesla wants to buy. We'll push this thing down. And,
their buy order is what pushed it up. Probably.
Oh, it did.
Because it's such a thin market, and that's about liquidity. Liquidity is the ability to transact size without adversely affecting price.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's why you don't see a lot of big institutions in our stock market right now, because it's thin.
Yeah.
Right. Crypto, and I'm sure because you see guys like Novogratz, right, and you see these big players in Bitcoin, you don't think that these guys are messing around with retail in the price, right? I mean, there is no market where billions of dollars of transact that there is not going to be somebody with a lot of money and a lot of sophistication in there, right? It's just foolish to think that it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you actually, so I've got your so anyone who is not following JJ on Twitter, I've got your Twitter page up on the stream right now, and
Oh, okay,
you
cool.
said something really interesting today, actually. So the tweet that you put out today, market makers don't hold the stocks down. They have large sell orders from someone who is liquidating a long position. They just trade order flow. They do not create the orders. This is done by early stage investors cashing out into your buying. So that's like, it's, I was actually going to ask you that, and you've just explained it perfectly. um,
Yeah.
and yeah,
You
it's
know,
yeah,
we
really.
always get a discount, right?
Mhm.
See, and then the old days in Vancouver, what we used to do is I had a client, we called him the Penguin.
Yeah.
And what he would do is he would only buy stocks from guys who he called good criminals, right?
Mhm.
Because he knew that they were good manipulators and they would run the thing.
Yeah.
So if a stock was 30 cents, he'd go to them and go, look, you guys need some cash, right? I'll give you a couple of $1,000,000. You give me stock at 10 cents, right?
Yeah.
So he's already got a profit locked in of 20 cents. And then when they take it from 30 to 60, boom, we let him have it. We're out.
Wow.
Thanks. Have a nice day. Right. And that's how he made 400 million bucks.
Mhm.
Right. So in crypto is the same thing because you have these new coins. And
Yeah.
the thing about these coins that fascinates me is the whole supply side.
Mhm.
Right. Like some of these coins have a limited supply. Some of them have a supply that's unending. Do you guys look at that? I mean, like Bitcoin apparently has a finite supply, but then
Yeah.
people mine it. So I don't understand how that works.
So yeah, basically Bitcoin. So there'll only be 21 million that ever exist, and with the mining of it is that every 4 years. So basically, you run your computer to do these calculations. That is what kind of secures the blockchain for Bitcoin. And there are big farms that mine by doing these calculations and kind of having everything secure within the blockchain there. But every 4 years, and this is what creates that supply squeeze on Bitcoin, like every 4 years, and that's why it's such a predictable
Excuse me.
market in a way. Is that so it will go through a halving. So basically, the reward that you get, the amount of Bitcoin you get for confirming a transaction, will
Yep.
halve every 4 years, and that's what slows down the supply. So initially, the supply was
Oh,
really
okay.
fast, and it's just like it's being squeezed. So every 4 years, that supply halves, and then halves again, and
Mm.
halves again. So eventually, there's barely any Bitcoin that's actually being produced. It's all in the market. So the circulating supply is constantly slowing down, whereas the
Wow.
demand is with everything that's going on right now is that's constantly rising, I guess, with these cycles, is that there's more
Which
demand
is
but
the
less
complete
supply.
opposite of stocks,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
stocks, the company will use stocks as stock as a currency, so they're always issuing and diluting.
Hmm.
And this is the actual opposite of that. See now, I I wish I had understood that earlier on.
Yeah.
I really missed the whole Bitcoin thing, right? Not because I didn't want to. I was looking at it and I'm like, what do you need? A wallet? You need a purse, a money clip,
Yeah.
all this nonsense, right? I was like, oh, okay, I just, just give me my futures contract. This is too easy,
Yeah.
right?
And
But it's a really cool concept,
yeah, and I think that's the thing, is that although Bitcoin itself has this supply that is slowing down, and it does have that finite supply, there are more products that are coming out. So for us as traders, we trade with a wallet that we have the asset within that wallet there, but you can
Okay.
trade on leverage still. So you can trade futures contracts, you can trade
Okay.
Bitcoin that you don't have. So you can trade Bitcoin you don't own.
Ah.
But if you get liquidated, that's all
Yeah.
your Bitcoin gone. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, it's a fascinating market. I remember there was a guy that was on our podcast who wanted to be a Bitcoin market maker,
Hmm.
and so I was curious where they would get their order flow from,
Yeah.
and that fascinates me. It's a brave new world, you know.
Yeah, and there are definitely market makers for cryptocurrency. So don't know, and there are people that old Wall Street guys that are doing this as well. So there's a company called FTX that run an exchange.
Okay.
Sam Bankman-Fried, or who runs he made all his money kind of through crypto arbitrage back in 2017, but now
Cool.
being on Wall Street, traditionally like there's a lot of market makers over there, and that's where a lot of them are. So there's liquidity providers within cryptocurrency and market
Cool.
makers for sure. But yeah, probably not to the extent that there is in traditional markets and things as well.
Well, yeah, and the ones it's gotten to be a real monopoly
Mhm.
in the U.S. The equity markets are really, really monopolized by very, 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 very large players now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit in the last 30 years.
Yeah. So I was just going on from that. What do you see about because there was the whole Wall Street bets thing, wasn't there? And
Yeah.
have you seen that as like, do you think that's disrupted things significantly over there? Like with, as you say, like stocks and the market makers within traditional markets there's
Yeah.
such a monopoly there, but now that there's this kind of gathering of people, and they've taken down hedge funds and things like that, haven't they? So it's
They took down that one hedge fund on GameStop, and honestly, what happened there was I will bet you anything that hedge fund was short
Mhm.
because they were loaning money to the company, and the company told them to go pound sand, and they were naked short, and then this wave of like basically a tsunami of buying came in,
Yeah.
right, and squeezed the hell out of them, and the thing is, it's just amazing. And then I found it very interesting that Steve Cohen all of a sudden came and bailed them out.
Mhm.
So they didn't really get taken down, right? And nothing on Wall Street is ever what it appears.
Yeah.
So Cohen might have been long against this guy's short position,
Okay.
right? And made an insane amount of money because let's face it, Cohen's one of the sharpest guys on the street, right? Um, SAC Capital and now is 0.72. I mean, the guy used to be what, 20-30% of the S&P volume at one time.
Wow.
These guys don't mess around, right? They're
Yeah.
well capitalized, and they can trade around you. They'll trade like 20 million shares around you. You won't even know what's going on. They're so sharp. So, he could have been long,
Mhm.
and then some of the proceeds he rescued this guy because that guy's still in business,
Right.
right? They did in fact not take him down, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing: that whole Wall Street bets was a dream of mine 20 years ago. I thought, what if you could hit a button and bring in wave after wave of buying
Yeah.
without spending any money? Because in the old days, to get buying, what we'd do is before the internet, we used direct mail.
Mhm.
So you'd spend $3-4 million sending out pieces of like a catalog on the stock, right? To a list of people who would buy, like mail order lists, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, people who buy smoked meat using mail order, right? They buy a lot of stock,
Yeah.
right? So what we do is spend $3 million, send out a mail program, and then liquidate $40-50 million worth of stock into the buying that created,
Wow.
right? So my dream was, and one of my very first clients was the very first guy who ever did email stock touts,
Mhm.
right? Back in 1996, 95, this guy did, buy this stock, first guy to send an email out. And we had so much liquidity. It was the only time the market makers would call me and go, "Can I show you a bid at 5? Yeah, for how much? How much do you want to sell? A million shares? Done. Where do you stand? I'm 5 for more." Right? You could sell so much stock into this buying, electronically, and he knew that was the future. And I tried to get one of my clients to build something that would mimic the liquidity that Wall Street bets brings in.
Mhm.
And so if you can, I really honestly think too that because I know that was probably manipulated by somebody who got paid a lot of money to
Yeah.
convince people to buy it, right? And they just stampeded in.
Yeah.
And when you tell people the biggest way to sell stock is to tell people that there's a short position and you're saving the company, because
Yes.
they totally believe it
Yeah.
and they want to be the white knight,
Yeah.
right? And then you sell into that buying. That is the most common manipulative tactic on Wall Street, and it goes back to the 1870s.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
it's that thing, and I guess especially with the narrative of what's going on in the world right now and the high street failing, and so all these stores have been forced to close through no fault of their own. Now they're going bankrupt because their stock's being shorted, and this general people are like, oh well, we can save them, let's buy all their stock up. And
what they don't realize though with these companies is, even as everything's going bad, do the CEOs take a cut in pay?
Yeah.
Look at their stock-based compensation.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, in American companies, there's something called S8, the letter S followed by the number 8. Right. That is a registration you will see for every small company under $20 on NASDAQ.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It is free. The stock is free. It's for employees and consultants. So the CEO will have a girlfriend. She'll be a consultant, and they'll give her $1 million of stock for nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know, because I lived off S8 stock from 2009 to 2007 to 2012. There was a company that paid me $25,000 a month cash just to look at their stock and report to the CEO at the end of the day to tell him what transpired in his stock.
Wow.
That's all I had to do.
Yeah.
And they paid me 25 grand a month US just to do that.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's free stock.
Mm-hmm.
It has zero cost basis. Right. So these guys, as soon as you give a CEO like $20 million, they'll go from driving a Ford to a new Jag.
Yeah.
They'll go from shopping at Marks and Spencer's to, where all the Savile Row, right? Mm-hmm. You will see them wearing $1,000 pair of shoes, right? You will see this sort of thing, and they always come up to the funder. I need more money.
Yeah.
What did you do with the 10 million? Well, expenses and stuff like that. Really? Is that a new Rolex?
Yeah.
I'm serious, because I've taken 200 companies public
mm-hmm.
and funded more with my clients. So I see that these companies, they deserve to be shorted into the ground, because the CEOs are playing with they're like drunk sailors on shore leave playing with other people's money.
Yeah.
Right? It's some poor guy who works 100 hours a week, laying bricks. He buys 1,000 shares of this crappy stock, right? The CEO is involved in that transaction, obviously,
mm-hmm.
right? And the money goes directly into the pockets of the people who aren't building a company for shareholders, right? Like those AIM stocks, they dilute them, right? And just like, our stocks here, they just keep adding the amount of stock, because paper is 15 cents a pound. It's if somebody's going to give you $10 million and all you have to do is give them some stock, you don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I got my Mercedes-Benz leases up, and my 5,000 pound apartment, needs to be paid. And, I've got this 20,000 pound Amex bill, that's got to be paid. These guys, they go and live like Saudi royalty.
Yeah.
When you give them, right? So that's what shareholders really need to understand, and hold your CEO accountable. They work for you,
mm-hmm.
Now in crypto, that's completely different, because there's no CEO, there's nothing. You just,
yeah. Well, you say that, but there are very similar things actually with crypto. With that, it is like Bitcoin. Yes, it doesn't have a CEO, but it does. So if we think Bitcoin specifically, it does have a very concentrated amount of wealth within the top, like within a very few wallets at the top. So there are people that control a significant amount of the total Bitcoin supply. But on top of that as well,
and nobody knows who they
are. No one knows who they are.
This is like a CIA spy novel. Okay.
Yeah, but there are other things, and so within the crypto world and things, we have there's a whole ecosystem underneath it. So Bitcoin is kind of like it's like that digital gold or something, but it also acts as almost the currency for trading an entire ecosystem that's underneath it. And you have all these
Ah,
altcoins
cool.
underneath, which can be created by a company or a single person. So like, yeah, you have, and this is the whole thing why people think it's so scammy with crypto and stuff is you do get a lot of projects that will be made from by one person. They will market it, their stock, so their tokens, which is the equivalent of
Yeah.
the stock in crypto. Their tokens will be distributed to people within that company. They will sell at a so they'll enable people. They'll have like a private sale so that people
Okay.
can get that token for say 1 cent or
Hmm.
something, or one satoshi, which is 0.00001 Bitcoin or something crazy like that.
Okay.
So they will do private sales in the same way that I guess stocks do to early investors, and then they'll have a exchange listing. And what happens every time on the exchange listing is the very first day, hype comes in, all the retail
Yeah.
come into this new product because it's being marketed for such a long time,
Wow.
being like we're going live on Binance or whatever exchange it is with that. And suddenly that within that day there'll be a 50, 100, 200% move up in price. And then what
Wow.
happens for the next few months is it just crashes by 98% or something.
Jeez.
And that is just the people who, and sometimes they're legit projects and they actually have a project, but yeah, you have this thing like um, there are things going on at the moment, and there was a big instance of it where there were a lot of companies or a lot of projects that would just pull the rug at that point. So they launch
Oh,
and they just pull the rug from underneath retail, and they get out, they get their millions, their billions of dollars out of it by selling to retail, and that's it, gone. Project's gone. And
wow.
yeah, that's why a lot of people, it's just, yeah, it is the Wild West. Like, I think it's getting better. Most companies now are more legit within the space, and a lot of them, I think the investors and the traders have got a bit more savvy now with knowing what's real and what isn't.
Hmm.
But certainly in 2017, when people were investing just on a white paper, people could make a website, say, oh, we're going to create a token that's going to sell, I don't know, we're going to create an online marketplace and you can buy houses with Bitcoin or something like that. And there'd be no project there, like no product there, but people would invest millions into it. And
Wow.
yeah.
Well, that sounds a lot like the internet age, the dot-com bubble.
Hmm.
You know, just it's so similar. You know, not saying that we're in a bubble. I don't want to get a bunch of
Well,
angry hate mail, but I'm just saying I've never seen people spend money the way they're spending money now.
yeah.
You know, that's, and I'm listen, I'm a capitalist,
Hmm.
right? You know, but sometimes you're like, you know, I heard some NFT went for $1 million today.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, people take it easy. You know, that's real dough. I mean, and the funny thing is, as an older person, it's funny. I understand how the mechanics of spending money have completely changed. A couple of years ago, I was buying something for somebody on Amazon, and I bought it and clicked, and they got it the next day,
Mm.
right? And it was a painless thing. I just clicked one button, and boom, they had it, right?
Yeah.
There was pain. I didn't reach into my wallet. I didn't take out the physical cash, and that physical act of taking out of your wallet and spending it is a little harder than
Hmm.
just clicking on something, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that you see people buying $500 pairs of jeans and, you know, running shoes for $100, and you're like, it's starting to get a little nervous,
Yeah.
you know. You know, it's like, you know, people are spending money on stuff that doesn't even exist, and it's like, you might want to keep a little bit at that for food,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I
It's
always remember the one Wall Street picture of 1929, and a guy is like selling his car for a loaf of bread,
mhm.
right? and it's just and I'm getting that itchy, weird feeling again. I don't know. It's like
I think that's it. And you mentioned the thing about it being a bubble, and I anyone that's in this space, I think, well, if you don't know, like Bitcoin and crypto is in another bubble at the moment, and it's just the way it is, and it's not going to, like, this, the hype that we've gone through, and what is up 400% in this year so far, alone, and these things do go and they do bubble like this. But I think, like you were saying about how it's similar to the kind of the dot-com bubble and things like that, is that from that you do get the innovation, and you do get legit companies like the Facebooks, the Googles, the Apples and things. They were all, I guess, around in that initial bubble. And
exactly.
yeah, so although I think everyone's very much aware that crypto and NFTs especially, that's probably the bubble that's going on right now, and the kind of money that's being thrown around at NFTs is just crazy. Like I've never really,
Staggering.
yeah, I've never got into them myself. I much prefer just to trade and get in and out and protect my capital wherever I can. But
A lot of our guys got in really early.
Yeah.
Which was.
But oh, you still there? You still there, JJ? I think I've lost you. Oh.
Hello.
Oh, you're back.
Hello. Yeah, I'm back.
You're back.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My headset. These damn wireless headsets, you know.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
No problem at all. Yeah, and I think, what were we saying? Like, yeah, NFTs. It's really interesting with that kind of thing, because I think, and again, like the kind of money that's going around with them at the moment is just, crazy. But then you do get the innovation and things that get spawned out of that as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we were lucky because in our trading room, in my education room, we have these guys got the NFT thing like right before it took off.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of young guys, Ray and Dan, who I call Fingers because I call him Twitter Fingers. He's always on Twitter. And, you know, they caught onto this thing and they got in at the lowest cost basis.
Yeah.
Of all this stuff. And now they're just sitting and, you know, fanning it off into the buying. Right. So I think that's great. If you can get in at a good cost basis on these things and get out and make some money.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. Just don't be the last one stuck, you know, in the game of musical chairs.
That's the thing. Yeah. The people that buy the top and then, yeah, they're left there for years. I think that's probably a lot of people that are into Bitcoin now, is that they were the people that bought the top in 2017 and held it all through an 80% drawdown, and now finally they're getting back into it again. But yeah, it's I wanted to ask you a few questions as well on so yeah, I had a few questions written down, and we've gone like way off into all these other things, which is really cool.
No problem.
But so one thing that's become more popular with crypto over really
Luke?
just the past.
Luke?
Yes. Hello, Tiger's joined us.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi, JJ.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to ask, because I saw a lot of comments from people.
Yep.
They want to know you, JJ. Like, who are you?
Who am I?
How you? Yeah.
Okay.
How you got into trading and being a market maker?
Someone's
okay,
just
well, if you guys have time, this is it's a bit of a long story. Okay. I'm JJ. I grew up in this place called Saskatchewan in the middle of Canada. And as soon as I could, I ran away from it because it's really cold and boring, but the people are lovely. And I moved to Vancouver, which is the west coast of Canada. It's a beautiful city. It also had one of the most active penny stock exchanges in the world, called the Vancouver Stock Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
It was a place for a lot of mining and mineral development companies. There are hundreds of companies, little public companies. So I moved out there with a couple of buddies from university. I was working as a bouncer at nighttime in a nightclub, which was next to a gentleman's club. So after the gentleman's club closed, all the pretty girls would come over and dance in my nightclub. And so where there are pretty girls, there are traders. And one of the traders gave me a book called Liar's Poker because I was working in the daytime as a assistant to an organic chemist, and we were making shampoo and soap and stuff like that because I did 4 years of microbiology, and there was no way I could get into med school. So, so I read Liar's Poker, Michael Lewis's first book about his time working at Solomon Brothers, and I was like, oh my God, these guys act like animals and they make a lot of money. This is for me, right? I couldn't see myself doing anything else. So I decided to try and get into the industry. I applied to every single brokerage firm, and I got a please F off letter, a PFO letter from every single one of them. And so anyway, I took the securities course, and then I read a book called Interview with Traders, Jack Schwager. He interviewed a lady called Linda Ratchke, who I've had on my podcast, who is just a phenomenal trader. And she said she got her job by getting a job close to the exchange so she could network. So I did the same. I went and worked for the federal government because I speak French. And next thing you know, I was reading the Wall Street Journal, and a little guy, a little East Indian guy who wore three-piece suits with cowboy boots came up and offered me a job. And I was a phone chimp. So at night, I would go after work and I would call people and ask them if they wanted information on this mining company and make sure that they got the information, send it out. And then the next day, when the mail hit, a closer would call and get them to try and buy stock. It was a phone room, right? So, and then he got me a job with the company that actually made the leads, the direct mail leads. And then that's how I got all my clients. My clients were stock promoters, public companies, hedge fund guys, because you would advertise, get these leads, and then try to sell them the stock, right? That's how the sales process worked back in the day. If you ever see the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, it was the Glengarry leads, right? So, it was direct mail marketing. So that's when I learned how to sell. I do like 150 cold calls a day, go and meet clients. One day I discovered that all I had to do was come into work at 5 o'clock in the morning and the phone was ringing off the hook because all our salesmen were degenerate drunks and they'd come in at like 10. But New York people would be 3 hours ahead. So I just came in one day, the phone was ringing off the hook. I was like number one salesman that month. All I had to do was pick up the phone. And these guys were all people who were stock promoters or deal guys who had owned brokerage firms, who did own brokerage firms. So they became my clients when I became a trader. So this time, after 2 years there, I had 200 of these clients who did nothing but sell stock. And you get to charge 5% on the dollar value of the transaction, every trade.
Yeah.
So if people complain about $3 commission now, I don't get out of bed for less than 20 grand a day. Okay. Right. So, my clients, they pay 5%. So $1 million trade, do the math. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't take trades under 100 grand. Right. Wow. It's not worth my time.
Yeah.
So, this is what we're doing. We're making markets for these guys. They taught me everything. See, the one thing they couldn't teach was trust. They're like, okay, kid, we could trust you. A lot of these guys would fly me out to New York just to meet with me so they could look into my eyes and then fly me back, right? They would fly me to Switzerland for a meeting and then fly me back, right? Because they didn't want to talk on the phone, right? So I've traded for mobsters and organized crime and Saudi arms dealers, and I used to engineer short squeezes. That was my specialty.
Okay.
Right. So for one unnamed arms dealer, I had to hold a stock at $30 for 3 months. So I engineered a short squeeze where the short position was bigger than the float. Sound familiar? GME? Hello.
Yeah.
And I kept it at 90 RSI for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So I've done stuff like that. I also had a deal where it didn't have a down day in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we got written up in Bloomberg for that. So that's what I used to do. And that's where my experience comes from. And I traded in Vancouver, which was the place where all the naughty stuff happened for the world. And it still does. It was a Pacific Rim city, and all the U.S. people would use Vancouver to sell their offshore stock into the United States markets via Vancouver, because we were allowed to do things that U.S. brokers weren't allowed to do.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. And and I worked on a company called Breax. They made the movie Gold with Matthew McConaughey. If you ever watched that, the stock went from 30 cents to $240. And then they dropped the geologist out of a helicopter over the Indonesian jungle. And then the whole thing came apart like a cheap suit.
Yeah.
I was a rookie. And that's where my client, the Penguin, had like 4 or 5 million shares at 30 cents and sold them all the way up, and he made like $400 million. So that was my introduction as a rookie, watching this world, and that's where I learned a lot of this stuff. So yeah, Canada was, and it still is a place where the world launders its money.
Yeah.
It's because it's really kind of sleepy and nobody really thinks that anything bad's going on. But and I was right in the center, in the thick of it.
Wow.
My boss got arrested for trading for the mob.
Yeah.
It's
so so you've been like, it's just crazy thinking like from a retail perspective, just thinking like what goes on behind the scenes, and
dear God,
because it's just, people don't realize this stuff. But were you, when you were doing this, did you have any awareness of kind of what the price was and like the charts itself? Were you looking at those, or were you just like, no, we're just going to pump stock in?
Yeah, we're just, what we're doing is we build the chart.
Yeah.
So what we do is we use the chart as advertising. That's why in the morning stocks gap up.
Yes.
And then collapse right after the open.
Yes.
Right. We do, that's a cashing up move for us. Right. And that's what's called cashing up the box. It's, you gap it, you sell into the gap.
Yeah. And
that's how you distribute a lot of volume, right, to retail.
Yes.
And then you buy it all back from them.
Yeah.
And then you take it up again, right? So those are signature things that happen in the business. And if you understand the business, then you know to get out into the gap. And we always teach people to sell into strength, right? Because people are unaware that a lot of the times buying is not real buying. Buying is us buying the market up to move it up so we can sell what we bought lower at a higher price and hold it up there while we do so. Right. And if you understand that, then when you're long and they're taking it up, sell into that move. Right. Because most probably it's going to come right back. Yeah. Right. It depends on, who's in the market at the time, but a lot of those stop runs and things like that come back in, and that catches a lot of people long because they're chasing price. Yeah,
that's the thing. People get so overexposed at the highs, and it's something that we see again in kind of with crypto and the markets that we're trading over here, is that you have these, and there's clear, like, you can tell that there's this manipulation going on with the chart and things, and that you have. So it's engineered, like, basically we went through a consolidation period within Bitcoin where it had gone through like a 2-month consolidation, which is just, that's a long time for Bitcoin.
It is.
And it breaks out, right? And what do retail, like most retail traders will think, okay, we've gone through a 2-month long consolidation. We've just had a breakout. Price must be going much higher. You have one weekend and then it just dumps 15% in 3 hours.
Yeah.
As soon as you have that breakout, it's like, okay, we'll stall here. it'll come down, and then it's just collapse, and then we're straight back into this range that we've been in for the last 2 months already, and it's back into
Oh
that.
yeah,
And I think
that's a hard thing,
yeah.
If you look, I mean, I'm just looking at a monthly candle wax chart here on Bitcoin.
It's crazy.
And it's a monthly from, let's see, August 20, I guess it is, to now. If you look at that price plunge, it's just an inventory. It's just a liquidation.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just
because inventory just was overly long, and we needed to clear out that inventory. Now the overhang's taken out of this thing. It might go completely higher.
Yeah, and I think that's what because it's almost, and as someone who I think I understand the way that this market works quite well, and you see these things, but it's just amazing how often things like this happen. So now that we've got CME that trades Bitcoin, and things like gaps can exist now, which they never could before. So Bitcoin will create gaps over a weekend. And the thing is, they always fill, but there's certain emotions there, and it's just amazing how markets can just time after time after time again just trick people.
Here's the thing
doing
about
the
gaps.
Same thing when emotions get
when a market gaps up, it's because there's a short position.
Yes.
Right. So the gap is a short position, and what is going on is there are bids there, and they're not getting filled. Otherwise, you'd see transactions in the gap. So if, like in the ES, people unfortunately use that gaps always fill, right? In the S&P, we have gaps going back from last year that haven't filled.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's no supply. And that's because the business model of the United States capital market is a asset gathering model where you get paid a fee every month as a percentage of the assets you manage. So if you manage $1 billion, you get 2%, 2 to 5% of that $1 billion paid to you just for looking pretty, right? So why would you ever sell anything? If asset prices are going higher, right? And companies like BlackRock own over 1 billion shares of Apple. Did you see what the daily trading volume of Apple is? Could you imagine trying to sell 1 billion shares of Apple into a market that trades 100 million a day?
Yeah.
Right? If you sold 35 million shares of Apple in one market order, you would take the stock to $5. It is. Trust me, I know something about thin markets. I worked in them for 28 years. So it's and the liquidity was created by me. So when I look at Apple trading that, I look at Google. It trades 3-4 million shares a day. There's 600 million shares in the floating supply. It's all locked up, 80% institutionally owned.
Yeah.
They don't want to sell it for 30 years because that's their mandate, and they're just getting paid a fee.
Yeah.
So why would you ever short the market, right? And think it would actually take, because there's no supply.
Yes.
Trading is all about supply. If there's supply, go short. If there's no supply, go long.
Yeah.
Right? We use all this technical stuff because we've got computers, but let's face it, this stuff happened 300 years ago under a tree.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we were too dirty to even let into a building. Right? So traders aren't really, we're not PhDs, you punch them in the eye and hit the bid. That's what you do.
Yeah.
It used to be face to face before computers, right? You'd have to look at somebody's emotion and read their face to see if you had a seller behind the order, or, all of that stuff is gone now. But the market is still the same.
Yeah.
The goal and the agenda is to take something at a cheap price and sell it at a higher price.
Yeah.
Right. Just like Walmart, except we're not selling toasters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just a market.
Yeah.
So,
I guess, kind of leading on from what you're saying, like, we all know that there's the game that we're playing, which is it's that supply thing of all the technical analysis that you can do. It's at the end of the day, what you're playing is you're playing the game that the market makers want you to play, and it's just having to guess what they're going to do at the end of the day. But
no, it's actually not guessing at all. if you use the type of charting I use,
Yeah.
it tells you exactly who's in the market, what
That's
their
it.
intentions are, where they're going to take the market. And I mean, if I can call, like, when the S&P hit 4193 on the ES that day, I hit it to the tick, right?
Yeah.
How would I know that it's going to stop right there?
That's
right. Because using market profiles, markets leave a structure, right? The time in sales over a period of time, it leaves structures. And from those structures, you can tell. I can look at a market profile chart of any stock and within 2 seconds tell you whether or not you should short it or not.
Yeah.
And I'll be right.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm brilliant. It's these charts show you exactly. There's a saying from the old days called "the tape never lies."
Yeah.
When they used to have ticker tape, because those are the actual transactions. Order books are meant to be manipulated, right? Like a DOM, a depth of market or a level 2.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm in a stock, I control every market maker in the level 2 like a puppet. Right. Every bid and offer is me. People just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm creating the market to make it look like what I need to do. If I need to take a stock down, I'll make it look like I'm taking it down. If I want to take a stock up, I'll create the illusion that I'm taking it up through the level 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so, and this is something that we're, as retail traders, I think market profile and TPO charts, that it's only something that people have really started to pay attention to in the last, I think only kind of the past year, really. And it's just, it's fascinating how just the amount of information you can get, and just it doesn't, because the thing with candlestick charts, and you can plot your support and resistance, you can do the Fibonacci stuff, and these things do, they have an effect, and you can you kind of, and it's that thing, is it's predicting, and every chart tells a story. I always have that thing of like,
exactly
what you always have to be looking for is what's the narrative here, and
so
what's going on. But it's
so a quick thing for candle wax folks is just run VWAP with 2 standard deviations.
Yeah.
Okay, it's really simple, and you'll see when wholesale is buying the position under VWAP, and then once the position or the seller has been cleaned out, we'll pop it over VWAP to sell.
Yeah.
That's the business model of the U.S. capital markets.
Yeah.
Now in Bitcoin, I've watched how it does trade with VWAP. It does. Their wholesalers will buy a position and then sell it.
Yeah.
Because they sold it all day. Since the 29th over VWAP, half an hour chart.
Yeah.
Right? And the fact that it couldn't break VWAP means there's no supply.
Yeah. Yeah. The VWAP is something that I personally trade it a lot, and it's brilliant for with Bitcoin. It's so powerful on scalp trades. So if you're just those kind of trades where if a price is, and at the moment, so right now Bitcoin's trading, and this is just the session VWAP, it's 2.3% above the session VWAP right now. And
I was just noticing that. I see like
and
56,773, and then VWAP is 5567. I don't even know if I have real-time quotes. I'm just using TradingView.
That's what it is. And we use this quite often. And the thing with it is that you get it so often is that you'll have this almost like this liquidity run that comes down. It will stop people out. You come into your VWAP. It hovers around the VWAP for a while, and then it will just take off again, and it's right off.
Exactly.
Off we go again, same direction.
Yeah,
come down to
it's
the
like
VWAP,
that means we've cleaned out the sellers.
Yeah.
Right. It's basically, I always liken it to like after a stock runs or any kind of thing runs, it's like when the Rolling Stones going into a hotel room. They have a party. It gets kind of crazy. A TV gets thrown out the window, right? It's going to take the time for maintenance to clean that room. Just like after a stock has a big run up and it craters, it's going to take time to clean out the float or the floating supply or the overhang, right? And if there's not that much overhang, we'll stay above VWAP. It's amazing,
Yeah, and it's I guess that's another thing, like with these moves up, and the great thing about the market profile and looking at the TPO and looking at the VWAP and things is that you can see again, where the balance is on the chart, and then where you have these inefficiencies. So do you trade things like, so I was going to ask you kind of what your strategy with market profile charts are, because we've been looking at that a lot, and things like single prints and the point of control, and
here's the thing. The profile, because I've been staring at these charts every day for like 6 years now, like 18 hours a day. I have noticed that you can even pull more information out of a profile chart.
Yeah.
You can tell where the stops are. So if you're short and the market can't run the lower stops, it means you don't have enough supply and you should cover.
Yeah.
If you're long and the market can't take the upper stops, it doesn't have the power to take those upper stops and run the shorts and force them to buy that you can sell into. So get out, right? It'll also tell you who's in the market.
Yeah.
It'll tell you when institutions are in and when it's just market makers and big size spec traders who are moving markets around, right? Because you got to remember, nowadays, there's $800 billion that has been loaned against equity portfolios that people are using to play with. So take that $800 billion and lever it 4-to-1 like these fund guys do. That's a lot of cabbage that's being used to push markets, Bitcoin. That's all other people's money, and it's levered like you couldn't believe. You look at that guy, Billy Wang, from, what he did. He had $30 billion of leverage, right, against an $8 billion portfolio. He went to every single brokerage firm, like going to a bookie, right? He went to Victor Chandler, he went to Ladbrokes, he hit them all, and they didn't know how much each other were loaning them. And he borrowed the maximum against the same basket of equities against like 6 different companies.
Yeah.
Right? This guy was like a crackhead, right? The way he levered himself up, right? And then it all came apart. And look at Viacom, right? He destroyed that company, right? He destroyed the stock. It's like a nuclear bomb hit the thing, right? And that's, so when you look at things like that, you have to remember that this whole market is being pushed up on funny money. Okay, it is not, it's not something that, if you want to go long, just make sure you trail your stop. Trail your stops and just pay yourself, right? Because trading is about trading for income. I see in my room, we teach people to make money every day, right? And if you're not making money, lose a little bit and then stop trading.
Yeah.
Right. We teach you how to keep your capital and how to make money so you pay your light bill, your rent.
Yeah.
We're not trying to, before you can get the Lamborghini, you got to pay your electric bill, right? And having the humility to go that way and think about it that way, that's what we do. We take market profile and we bring it into the real world, because most of the education, and I love the guys who brought it to us. They're like rock stars in my world, Jim Dalton and Peter Stadelmeyer. But their books are from 30 years ago, and they don't take into account things like, and this is nothing against Jim, about algorithmic trading, and that's why we don't have excess nowadays, right? Why we have so many single prints is because that is a short position in the middle of the day where supply cuts off.
Yeah.
Right. Also, the thing is, the markets have changed from a commission-based model to an asset gathering model where it's not economically sensible for the industry to sell any stock. That's why it's all being warehoused, and they just get paid a higher fee every month. Think about what the management fees are on $8 trillion. That's how much BlackRock has under management. That's a lot of money. That's like influence government kind of money. $8 trillion that's a lot of money for one company to be running, right? And then you look at Fidelity and all of these guys, they're in the same amount. That's trillions, right? In the hands of very, very few people, right? And in markets that are not liquid.
Yeah.
So make sure you pay yourself and don't have visions of sitting in a tree over your Lamborghini and trading. Just make that money, because really good size big traders start out as really good small traders.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing I do advise people is, especially in my room, is have the humility to use stops.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're insurance and they're
Yeah.
also information.
Yeah.
If your stop gets taken, it means you've had crappy trade location or the order flow isn't in agreement with your trade strategy.
Yeah.
Right. It is your insurance. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you had a Subway, you'd have insurance against fire, right? Like if you were selling sandwiches, you would have fire insurance. This is just protecting your capital.
That's
and it also
yeah.
gives you information because in market profile, we use what we call a structural stop. And the structural stop will tell you everything about the order flow. Because if the market cannot run that stop, it means they don't have the supply to the downside.
Yeah.
If they do, you don't want to be in the trade if you're long.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's something that I think a lot of people within the markets that we're trading here as well. It's very valuable information for everyone, and probably even more so in Bitcoin, because there's this belief, and this is what makes, I think, the market so powerful for younger people, and what gets people caught out so much is there's this belief that Bitcoin is going to be something that's just going to continue to go up and up and up, and it's going to change the world and blah blah blah, the whole fundamentals behind it. But the thing you need to realize is, if you're a trader, like risk management and being able to just pay yourself consistently in cash is, and that's the key thing, is that the weird thing with Bitcoin is that when it's in a bull market like it is now, there's the whole thing of like, okay, Bitcoin's going up and you trade against Bitcoin, so it's an inverse perpetual contract and you can trade it against itself to create more Bitcoin. But that in its way almost makes it harder for a lot of people to then cash out, because they see their Bitcoin maybe value going up, and then as price starts to come down and we get these corrections and we get these big moves to the downside, even if you've been building a position, so you have more Bitcoin than you did say a few weeks ago, when that move down happens, and this is where the psychology aspect really comes into play, is when that move down happens, it's almost so much more difficult to handle, because suddenly you have more size than you're willing to lose. So if you see a portfolio going down by 25% or something that you've been building for weeks, it's the psychology with these markets just seems that extra bit magnified. And
well, because the swings are big, right?
Oh yeah,
the swings are big. You know why? The swings are big in any market that's new because it's thin.
Yes.
Right. That means, see, in a thick market like the S&P, wholesalers will commit their capital to buying and selling at a certain price. Here, they have no idea what the hell's coming, order flow wise. So it's not like they're paying for order flow. Like in the US, there's a pay for order flow model. So the market maker pays the brokerage firm to trade against their order flow. They provide liquidity, and in doing so, they make money by being at risk, but they get to see all the orders. But the Bitcoin market makers, they don't have that advantage, right? Because they're not paying a brokerage firm for the order flow. They have to take what's coming in at face value. They don't know what's behind it, right? Where a normal market maker would. So that's why they're going to step away from a price, and the thing will drop, because they'll see maybe, I don't know, one lot of something, and then all of a sudden a massive order comes in, right? They're not going to stand there and buy it all, because they have to preserve their capital. Right. And they are under no obligation to a brokerage to provide them a good fill. Right. See, there's in a regular thick market, the market makers have to stand by certain execution. Right? They have to, otherwise the client will go to another market maker. Right. right? They'll say the way you're screwing my customers, and the customers are complaining, and we're going to switch,
Yeah.
right? So, but that doesn't exist in Bitcoin because it's the Wild West, and in one way, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know that, then you can adjust your expectations and manage your expectations when you are in a trade,
Yeah.
knowing that it's to take a little bit of money off it. I'm a big fan because I've seen so many bubbles, and I've seen, there was a guy I knew who made 400 million bucks in the internet bubble, and I heard 2 weeks ago that he's broke.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know how he spent that kind of money. But, I'm sure he traded a lot of it away because stock promoters end up being the worst traders because they have no discipline. Because that's a sales job, really. A stock promoter is convincing people to buy your worthless stock. But the thing is, it's sell some and put the money where you can't reach it. There's nothing wrong if you have 50,000 shares of something and it's running, sell 20 of it. And put that money away where you can't get your grubby little paws on it.
Yeah.
And where you're going to trade, you have to save yourself from your ego in this business.
Yes.
Because your ego will always write checks that your account balance cannot cash. Right? And having the humility to realize that, otherwise the market will give you humility in ways that are just unbelievably brutal.
Oh yeah.
Here's a story about one of my buddies, really good friend, ended up being a trader at one of the big head trader. When we started, he was a rich kid, so money didn't really matter to him. I remember once he was short this stock, and he was up like a lot of money on Friday, but he didn't close the short position.
Right.
He went and bought a Mercedes.
Yeah.
That afternoon after the close, showed up at the bar with this new Mercedes. Monday morning, they gapped the stock up.
Yeah.
Compliance bought him in, and I had to drive him back to the Mercedes dealership to return the car.
Yeah.
Right? And we still laugh about that now. But I mean, it's take the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Unrealized
if you're walking down if you're walking down the street and there's $500 laying there, are you going to stop and pick it up? Or are you going to, maybe there's 1,000 around the corner? No, pick up the money.
Yes.
Right? Peel off some of that position, right? And then also at month end, don't trade at month end.
Today.
Right? Month end is when the whole business goes risk off.
Yeah.
Yet retail goes crazy risk on, right? Like people who short the S&P and hold it over a month end long weekend.
Oh, may have lost you again there.
They always get destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Because can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you just cut off briefly. So the last
weird.
yeah, the last kind of 30 seconds, I guess. It just cut off.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing as well. And with you do tend to see that, and we've seen it a lot in markets this year. Is the end of the month, there's always a move down, and people do risk off. Today's one of the weird days that we've had a 6% move up, and it's the last Friday of the month on an options expiry day with CME and stuff, which is quite unusual with
short covering.
Yeah. So I've got a few questions that people have sent in.
Sure.
As well. So let's have a look here. So someone's asked. Let's have a look. So I've heard that the techniques that market makers use, forcing retail positions to grab liquidity. What type of techniques do market makers use to generate liquidity within markets?
Running stops. Your stops are our liquidity.
Yes.
Right? So what it is when you run the stop, say you're long, if you're long a big position,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been buying it all day. Once you have that position secured, you spend the money to run the stops, in the upper stops, is that creates buying.
Yes.
The shorts have to cover, right?
Yep.
That's forced buying, right? So what happens as soon as they start buying, you do something called sweeping the book, which is a technique where you buy everything that's on offer in the order book simultaneously. Now, in the old days, you'd have to do it because we used to trade on the phone.
Yeah.
Right. So what I do is I'd pick up two phones. My partner would pick up two phones, and the guy on the other side of me would pick up two phones, and we would buy from 6 market makers on the offers simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And when they lift their offers and move up, I put a bid of 1 million shares up. Right? Now I've got the shorts trapped under my bid, and that's what creates those single prints.
Yes.
Right? And that's why when the market can't come and break and trade into those single prints on the way down, it means that I've got all the supply.
Yeah.
And I'm holding the market up to sell that supply higher.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
That's because what you say there is exactly what's happened this week on, again, like the Bitcoin chart, what we've been trading for this week. So it's really interesting to hear that, because it's something that we've all traded very recently. So what basically happened at the beginning of the week, so Bitcoin was in a range at the lows, it was at support, and it on the Sunday night, it came down, it started just a really strong aggressive move down, took the stops. Everyone, the whole market at that point was going, okay, we're going to take another 10% move to the downside here. We've lost support. It's going down. And then suddenly, okay, stops have been taken. It gets that bounce, and then immediate short squeeze. And we've been in that just ever since. And it's just, and what we were kind of saying about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could, even looking at the candlestick chart, you can tell exactly why that happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have above 57,324 to, I don't know, 65, whatever it is. That was all trap supply.
Yes.
Right. Because those people have been in for some time, and they're trapped. So you've got all these people long trapped. So when you did that big down day on the 21st, and you took out that low from, where is it here? The 21st of March or 25th of March, right? When it took out that low, the swing shorts took their stops.
Yeah.
Wrapped their position down there, and you can see on the old candle wax, that big volume bar coincides with the day of right before the low. And then they picked up all that position. Then the next 2 days were housekeeping, right? Where you just kind of hold the market lower and absorb all the selling, and then you just rip the stops to the upside.
Yeah.
The upper stops you can even see on a candle wax. And once you blow those stops, you've created the buying to take what you've bought, and now they're holding it above 53,000 to sell.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, again, like, this is just what, so we had this same move that was on the, so if you're looking at on the 25th of April, so this was just on Sunday night, where again it you have this stop from this low that was put in on the 23rd. It formed a range here, and then just overnight you take the stop, so it comes down to 47k, whereas it was at 47,500. Immediately just massive candle to the upside, and that's created, so if we're looking on the TPO, on like the market profile, it's created just a huge area of these single prints, which anyone who got stopped out then at these lows is now expecting a retrace, because they want to get back in at, say, the 618, or they want these single prints to fill, or they want it to come back to support. And again, what happened this week is it just put in this range, and again this morning it took the lows of the range, stopped people out again, and now it's gone up another 6% from here, and now we're at the top of this range now. So now
here's the cool thing. I love that you're using market profile. Now, what program do you use for looking at this?
So I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's a program called Exocharts.
No,
It's
see, this is the thing because I've only known of Sierra,
yeah,
NinjaTrader, and Window Trader to have market profile,
yeah.
right? So I would love to look at. Do you actually look at Bitcoin or the futures?
Yeah, I can set up a share screen if you like. Right now,
Sure, that'd be
I can show
wonderful.
you this. So this is the market profile chart that I use. Now, anyone that's on the stream, I've got a really bad GPU on this computer, so sometimes when I go to share screen, it goes really laggy.
No problem.
But
That's fine.
I'll just put this on for you, and we'll have a little look at this. So, can you see
Oh,
my?
hey, yeah. Oh, okay.
So this is this is just daily market profile that we're using and that what we use to
Yeah,
look at
no,
every day.
that's perfect. That's actually pretty good, you know.
Yeah,
Is that free or do they charge for that?
there's a free version, and this is crypto specific, so it doesn't have any so it doesn't have the ES, it doesn't have anything like that. It's Bitcoin.
No,
it's
that's fine. That's
altcoins
fine. Because all I have on Sierra Chart, I have the Bitcoin futures, and then I haven't figured out what bloody instrument to look at because they have, you know, they have this. So I got to figure out the symbols. I thought future symbols were a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
You guys have different symbols, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's really good, you know?
So this is what I was explaining earlier, how you see that we had the range that was put in over the weekend. It took the stops. You can clearly see there that's been taken. And then we have this move up, the single prints everyone was expecting to fill. What happens is we come back, we take these stops here, we hit the value area low of the day that we had the short squeeze, and then we're up again. And
this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice, and they're really nice charts to look at. You can merge back, and you can kind of think, okay, here's the range that we're in. We can merge this all the way back here, and
that's pretty nice, you know.
Yeah,
because I've got I don't know what I've got BitMEX. I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
that sounds like Mexican food. I don't know. Tex-Mex, BitMEX.
Yeah,
and then BitMEX testnet. I don't even know what that means. You know, it's like, you know, there's got to be like a idiot's guide 101 to crypto symbols, right?
Yeah, it's really cool on this one. So you can change the tick size to kind of find different
exactly, structure.
Yeah, and again, like, I know market profile usually on the 30 minutes, but we can change this to whatever we want.
Oh, you can that, and then you can change it really quickly too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool.
Something else that's interesting, you can see the open interest that's happening at the time as well.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, this is quite useful things, and this net longs and net shorts, and you get all this information that's just really useful. You've got your VWAP on here as well, so.
See, look, I learned something new too. That's cool.
I
love this stuff because I'm a guy who loves to learn.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it's and the whole Bitcoin thing, I was like, I wish I could see this, because the one thing I'm not sure if you know that is you use market profile to find your targets.
Yes.
Right. You know, you absolutely take a level of balance and you double it, and you'll be surprised at how the top of that double, it'll usually hit to the tick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so
it's quite amazing.
That would be what? So if you're taking like a range and then you take the
and you double it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that, and you can use things like Fibonacci, and then can't you? So it would be the 2 extension or expansion from that
I don't even use that stuff because I don't trade using a candle chart at all. Right? I'm pure market profile, because what happened was after my heart attack and I started retail trading, to do something like that was relaxing rather than running deals. So I looked at these candle charts, and then I look at this one guy, and he had all these formations and patterns and bulls holding flags and bear holding flags, and I felt like I was in a parade. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to find Dalton and Resnicek on market profile. And that's why I created the room that I have, to take what they teach and kind of put it in a streetwise how you can use it every day to actually profit. kind of
Yeah.
form. And that's, we teach this every day. And it would be wonderful to be able to actually have these charts for my Bitcoin, because we have a whole Bitcoin room, and
Yeah.
I don't even know if anyone's ever mentioned it. I haven't spent much time in there, but
Well,
this is beautiful.
yeah, if you ever want to come on and we can do some Bitcoin charting and trading together sometime,
That'd be
that would
wonderful.
be brilliant.
I'd love to actually sit in with you. Well, this thing never shuts down, eh? This
you can hop on whenever you want and trade it whenever you like.
I've got a buddy of mine. Well, he's one of my partners, and he's in Belgium.
Yeah.
And he came back. He went on a trip, and he came back about 4 months ago, and he got the Bitcoin bug.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his mother have been just like, I'm like, okay, have a good weekend. They're like, and then on Saturday, I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're trading, and they show a picture. It's like they're in their pajamas, like, and they haven't, left the house. And I'm like, okay, you guys, you got to tone it down a little bit with this, because at least with the stock market, you get the weekend,
Yeah.
You get a bit of peace.
Yeah.
Right. But these guys, they're cranking 24 hours. It's amazing.
Gosh, the weekend moves that you get with Bitcoin are crazy, because it's the liquidity drops and the market makers aren't around as much. You still have them there and there's still liquidity there, but I tend to sit out the weekends. But the beautiful thing with like trading weekends on Bitcoin is that you can fade any move. If there's a move to the upside, fade it back down into the range. If there's a move to the downside, you can fade that and just bring it back up into the range. And that's the thing. You have value that's created, and you just have these big moves up and down. It just creates these kind of what we've got here, which is just this big move up, and it just gets faded back down, back into the range, back into value, and you continue on as normal after that. It's
That's amazing.
Yeah, so you've got really interesting things here, and I'll just show you another one. So what we can do with on XO as well. So this is another chart that I use, and you can split the session times on here.
Okay.
So I've got like the open that kind of takes us from, because we're in British summertime, this would be 1 a.m. so midnight UTC. We've got the London trading session here, the CME trading session here, and then the close. So this is using like traditional.
Nice.
Yeah, and you find really nice interaction between the different charts as well, where you'll find that, say, New York will hit the point of control from the previous day's New York session and things like that, and it's just very.
That's really very, very cool.
Mm.
How difficult is it to manipulate the software and figure it out? Like Sierra chart drives people crazy.
That's the thing with exocharts. It's such a nice interface. So you can turn on and off your TPO really easily. You can go into your settings and you can change the session split. You can choose, if you're not interested in like the buy and the sell tails, you can just remove them from your charts.
Oh no, you want those.
Yeah.
Wow. Look
your
at
point
that.
of control here. So whether you trade volume point of control or time-based point of control, it's just
that's cool.
Yeah,
I like to look at both, because the volume is the position of the wholesale.
Yeah.
In ES, and then the time spent to acquire that volume. And then after a certain length of time, that's why shorting in this U.S. market is like getting a tooth removed without Novocaine. It really is, because you have to sit in the short for an hour before enough supply builds up that they take the stops and run the thing, and then you got to cover really quickly.
Yeah,
because there's no supply, so it shuts off. It's very frustrating for short sellers, this market, in the S&P, definitely.
Yeah. I can imagine at the moment.
The S&P and the NASDAQ have massive short positions going into month end because of those gaps. It's makes a very unstable market.
Yeah, I was going to ask as well. I've just it's just been reminding me of this thing here. So on with Bitcoin, there's you know, the 80% rule, the trade with the previous day value area and
Yeah,
things like
yeah.
that. So this is something that works so it works so beautifully on Bitcoin. And you get these times where, yeah, so with EXO as well, you can get all of those levels on here and you can have them on your markers. So you can choose to show your developing day points of control and things on the right hand side of the chart. You can
Wow.
have markers here that show where the previous day value areas were. So here just marked on the chart, and they're just there throughout the day as the value area high, point of control, value area low is down there. And then you start to be able to trade these things as like, okay, say we've opened outside, we get acceptance back in, and then you've got your levels there, and it's
Perfect.
yeah, it's
That's really cool.
it's a great piece of software.
That's wonderful. I'm going to play with this. Now,
Yeah.
what do they charge like a month for the full blown thing?
A month.
Or do you have to buy it? I don't know how software works these days. I mean, Sierra's.
It's something like £29 a month or something, or
Really?
$29 a month. It's not.
Yeah,
That's-
it's not expensive.
Yeah. Oh, Tiger's here still.
No, that's great because
Yeah.
you know I mean I love the guys from Sierra. I mean the software is from 1986, but it's stable, right? I've been using it for 8-9 years. It's never crashed.
Yeah.
You know, and I have no problems with it. But some people, the learning curve drives people crazy.
Yeah.
You know, where in fact we have people who actually will build charts for people if you buy them a coffee. You know, and they, you know, but to have another alternative is great because as much as I love the people at Window Trader, $600 a month for TPO charts, it's a bit much.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
and that's the thing. This is all just it's very accessible, and you've got so much more as
Exactly.
well. So even if you don't trade TPO, you have really interesting things. So you can have like a version of a simple candlestick chart, and you can have your CVD on here as an overlay. You can do really cool things if you're more of a scalper, that you can see what
look at
buyers
that,
within different. So you can see
like a
all of the
footprint.
yeah. So here's your footprint chart. You can see, okay, here's all the longs and the short
Oh,
positions.
yeah, my nose print guys would love this stuff.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can kind of split into order size as well. So you can see
yeah,
just the
look at
people that are trading over 500K. You can split that down so you can see what retail's doing. You can see what the big players are doing. And it's really, really great piece of kit.
It's beautiful. You know, I have a buddy of mine who works with ATAS, and I've been trying to get him to do TPO charts for such a long time now. You know, but it's, you know, we need to get more companies doing this because the reason why it was not popular was because it's kind of intimidating when you first look at them.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, what the hell is this? What's with these letters? You know,
Yeah.
you know, what is this, alphabet charts? They used to call us alphabet traders, right? But you know, once you get to use them and see how much information you can get out of them, it's absolutely astounding. You
Yeah.
know, you can see where they build the position. Like on this chart right now, you can see that whole range where the volume is from, I don't know, I can't see, 2 o'clock in the morning till 1400 right there.
Yeah.
The pink, right, underneath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, that's them holding the market, buying the position, and then you see the stop run with the single prints, and now they're selling that position up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we had
it's plain as day.
Yeah, because
Right?
within this area, within this 500 area, you had, and this was from the move down that we had over the previous week, there were those naked point of controls there that were untouched from previous sessions. This was within this area. You had a weekly close within this area. And it's just, that's the thing, like it blasts through this resistance and people would have been shorting this.
Exactly, right? And now they're still short, and every time it comes down there, they bid the market up. Right? Because the market makers are using that short position as leverage.
Yeah.
Right? See, that's what I used to do. I'd like every time if my clients were smart enough, they would let me build a short position into a stock. So you open a stock at $5, you take it down to 350, and put out a rumor that it's a piece of crap. Everybody shorts it, and you buy up all their short paper at 350. The next day, you put out some goofy news release, right? And you open the stock at 5 bid in the pre-market.
Yeah.
So, and your bid 1 million shares, right? So your bid 1 million shares, they're trapped underneath you. And that's how these single prints get created.
Yeah.
And then they go to cover at 5, and I move my offer to 550, then 6, then 7, because I'm the only seller. Right? And they're chasing, and as soon as they chase higher, I move that 1 million share bid higher.
Yeah.
So now they're even more trapped.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? And because I've got the supply, nobody's got 1 million shares to sell me. Right? And this is exactly what you'll see in markets. This shows a wholesale element. And this is something I've been wanting to see in crypto. And this is clear as day. I could teach this all day.
Yeah.
And really help people, because the thing that the candles are great, but that chart that you had right there, that tells you exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
you want to be long when it rips into those single prints. And if you missed it when it comes back and touches the top of them, that's your long, and your stop is, structural, it's a bit big for this market because those single prints are pretty big.
Yeah.
But usually you'd put your stop at the bottom of those prints, right?
Yeah.
In the ES, right?
Sure.
But that's a big area in crypto. That's a huge stop. Right?
Yeah.
But
it's like
because yeah, right. And then your target is the next value area up.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying something on a a little update that I did this morning, and I was using the old the Jim Dalton thing of the whole what should happen doesn't, and
exactly, and that's when the market's trying to tell you something.
Yeah, and that's the thing with what we've seen over the course of the last week, is that everyone who had been stopped out on this low, on this kind of stop, all the stops taken, and then you have the short squeeze, everyone's expecting these single prints to come and get filled. And under normal market conditions, you could expect that. But all we did was we take the stops again from down here, which is the value area low of the range. And it's just up again from there. It never comes back enough to get people.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got all the supply. Now, the funny thing about these single prints is a lot of traditional profile people will take them off after they've been traded through. Yeah. When markets are new, keep them for a while and extend them and see how reactive that area is going to be when it trades there.
Okay.
We take trades off those single prints. I have them from 2 years ago because this market doesn't have a trading range, right? Right. So this thing is a new market. So those will be reactive later on.
Yeah.
We'd be very curious to do it as an experiment and watch the price action when it comes into them.
Yeah. So I'm just zooming out again here. So
this is really cool.
We've got the top of these single prints that were from the drop down. So that takes us up to 58,600.
Yeah.
So we've had a bit of movement into those when it was creating this range, but we've still got a big area left to fill there. And then there's another, no, that's just the selling tail of that day, but I don't know if there's single prints further back. The thing that I really love as well is the naked point of controls. And you can find those.
As they say in Texas, naked. But those work great. We have so many of them that are untraded in the ES. It's incredible.
So for those I've got, and this is just a really simple footprint, and you can
look at that.
Yeah, you can see
the chart moves around quite quickly too, which is nice.
Yeah, so again, you can have them and they're just showing, so you can see where these naked point of controls are. You can move your tick size around to see if you want a big $50 area or something, you can.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
because the thing is, that market is such a big market. You have to use a lot of ticks just to fit everything on the screen.
That's it. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's I wasn't expecting to get on to be looking at the charts with you tonight. This is it's really amazing to be doing.
I've wanted to look inside the crypto market for a couple of years now, and I have my zones and things like that on the futures, and they work okay, but I'm using CME start times and things
Yeah.
like that. So, but this is something specifically designed for Bitcoin, right? Which is perfect because, a lot of the guys in my room want to trade this, but they don't feel comfortable unless they got a profile chart,
Yeah.
and this is a beautiful way, and it's a low cost way because I'm from the days, and back in the day, we had this software, and it was called Dow Jones Telerate, and it was $1,500 a month US. And the level 2 wasn't even dynamic. You had to sit there and keep hitting the enter button all the time for it to refresh, right? And then the Bloomberg was $4,000 a month. So our software was $6,500 a month before we even made a dime.
Yeah.
So I love that the barrier of entry is lower now for people, so they can trade and keep their monthly costs down. That's why I charge less than $100 for my room, so that way people can afford to learn, right? It's sorry, didn't mean to shamelessly plug it, but I do. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer that education. I hate these people who charge people 20, 30 grand to learn how to trade, right? That really, it really irks me, because you're taking advantage of people who are, they're trying to make a better life for themselves, right?
That's it. Yeah.
And you see a lot of this trading education. That's why I was like, let's do it a different way and tell people the truth.
Yeah.
Right. And, it's just, over time it'll work out.
Yeah. And that's the same thing. That's what I'm all about as well. And with ourselves is that obviously like none of us can who are watching today, like I don't know, maybe we've got some market makers in the stream somewhere, if they want to if they want to show themselves, but
I hope so, because all of mine are either retired like or dead. It's unfortunate, it's just not a really, we don't, like the other guy in my room who was an options market maker, he's had like 20 heart attacks, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And he has a defibrillator, right? I've had a heart attack. You don't really get your button until you've had your first coronary in my business. So if there are any guys out there or ladies, good to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
I miss you guys, like the one guy who's healthy is selling burritos in Denver. He's retired.
Maybe that's the maybe that's what you need as your kind of your stamp of approval as a market maker, is to. I used to so I could kind of have a claim to that. I used to suffer from heart palpitations and things when I was younger, and I used to have loads of tests and stuff. So I guess I can consider myself part of the.
See?
Yeah.
This business will age you in dog years.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why I try and keep people away from that stress. In teaching, because you shouldn't have to have a heart attack to make an income. No. It's life is, it's you start realizing it. I think the young kids, it's good having them around in my room because they keep me from getting too serious about things.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And you learn a lot too about new things like this. It's great.
Yeah, well, it'd be great to if you're up for it, and if you wanted to do any more of these, and we can do some sessions and stuff in the future, that would be brilliant.
I'd love to, because you guys are I didn't know what to expect with the crypto, and now that I see Market Profile, I know that I feel that you guys are safe.
Yeah.
Right? Because you take the blindfold off this crazy thing.
Yeah.
And you can see what, as I say, these pendejos are up to. And that way at least you can mitigate your losses and keep your risk low, because the trick is to have money the next day to trade.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And retail trading is honestly the hardest thing I've ever done. Because you can't cheat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Institutional, we cheat all day. Right. Well, I mean, like if I took a trade, how many times have I taken a trade and lost 10, 15 grand?
Yeah.
And I call up a market maker and I go, hey, can you put this up for me? Can you put up 15 for me? And because I give him, I just made him like 150 grand in spread that day. They'll be like, yeah, sure, give it to me, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Right. So that creates a horrible lack of discipline.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of guys from my industry, when they start trading retail, get their ass handed to them
Yeah.
because they have no discipline.
Yeah, and
Right?
then if a trade
Because
starts going the wrong way, and in that instance, you can't just call up your mate and go, "Oh, could you run this back the other way for me?" And you're then stuck in
or
it
stuff it in a
without a
client's
stop
account.
loss, and yeah.
Right? Yeah, you stuff it in a client's account, you put it in an inventory somewhere that nobody looks.
Yeah.
Right? You bribe compliance so they don't look at it. You do all these kinds of things. And in retail, it's just you, one small account, and if you screw up, it hurts.
Mm.
So it's very, very. I have a lot of respect for people who do this, and that's why, that's why we try and help them, and kind of be, help pull the blindfold off of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's
so yeah, JJ, for newer traders, then would you be able to give kind of one tip in terms of risk management and how to manage that for newer traders? Oh, have we lost you again? I'll give it a moment.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, you're back again.
Sorry, my headset finally died.
No
I thought I had it recharged, but I didn't. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Yeah, I was just asking because we just did have another question. Just if you could give like
Sure.
one like tip or like words of wisdom on for newer traders how to manage risk. And yeah, just any tips on risk management for newer traders here as well.
Definitely. Remember when you're a new trader, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you're learning, and it's not about making money. So the biggest thing to do is choose something that you can trade where if you lose that day, you can recover from it, right? That's why we like these micro CME contracts. Like on the ES, if you have a bad day, you lose $30, $40,
mm-hmm.
right? As opposed to losing 500 or 600 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So pick an instrument. I think they're going to have micro Bitcoin futures coming out. That might be something if it's liquid enough. And always remember, the quicker that you admit that you're wrong, the money that you will save.
Yeah.
Right. And take the time actually to watch price action. And remember that it's a business and these people are moving price because they have an agenda. And the agenda creates the order flow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you think about that, then you have good odds the market's choppy. Right. So like in Bitcoin, it was choppy here from, 3 a.m. to, 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Right. It was in a range. Right. That's them building a position like a washing machine. Right. Going back and forth and back and forth. And then once they have that position, then they move the market up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you're long, you want to be long as close to the move as possible. Right.
Yeah.
So you have to wonder who's in the market, how slow it is, what's the volume. Learn to watch the order flow.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, once you trade one market really well, then you can go to another market. But stick to one market, learn it, and really get intimate with the order flow. And don't be afraid not to trade.
Yeah.
Right? Because as Jesse Livermore would say, a lot of the big money is made in the watching and the waiting.
That's it, yeah.
And that's how they get us to overtrade.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, the more you know about the business and how it works, the less you're going to get FOMO and tilt and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I really like what you guys are doing. I'd like to come and sit in sometime because I've never seen anybody explain Bitcoin using market structure.
Yeah.
This doesn't lie. You can't fake this. You can't. There's no wash trading. There's no, these are transactions.
Yeah.
And they can't be faked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's a really good. Definitely, sometimes patience is the
It's hard.
Yeah,
It's
but it's
hard.
one of the most important things. And over again, like when we were in this range and it was just kind of chopping along around here, not really kind of paying any, that we had levels that you could take very quick trades off of.
Yeah.
But until really we got this move down, and you could see where the low of the range was, and if this was merged, we had the value area low right here, and it took those stops and got that reaction, and then you have that typical swing failure pattern and back up again. And until then, like for a few days, really, there hadn't really been a trade unless you'd caught this, which happened in like 3 minutes. This move
that was a
and
stop
then
run,
down.
right? That was a stop run to get rid of that inventory.
Yeah.
So, and what it did was it trapped. See, the people who didn't have time to sell. See, because you've got position trapped in that value area of 2 days long, and not all of them could sell in that small time frame, right? So now you got trapped. That's why the market goes out and takes the stops at the low and gets all those people out.
It was quite funny actually. So this move that went up higher, it was all based off of a rumor that Facebook are going to add Bitcoin to their
wow.
Yeah, they were just so they were going to have a position in Bitcoin or something along those lines.
So somebody created the rumor and sold into it.
There was a rumor that came about, and you get this a lot in crypto, is that when the chart's not doing something,
you'll make it do something.
Yeah, news will come out, and then that's the retail newer traders, they'll just go to the news. They'll be like, right, I'm buying this. Facebook are in. It's the same thing as like Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't read the news. I just read the price action.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. A little secret, right? In all these companies that I took public, there are lots of times that the CEO is off on a bender and hungover and can't write the news release. I'm the one who had to write the news release.
Yeah.
Okay. And I lie like a sidewalk. Okay. When it comes to writing news releases, all of that stuff is fake. Just like listening to politicians, they're never telling the truth, right? You know they're not telling the truth, right? It's part of the job is to lie, right? So the companies want to make you. They'll never put out a news release like, this is a crap company. We're spending all your money. Don't buy our stock, right? They're never going to tell you that, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they have to issue good news so you keep coming. Yeah. And this market, there's no regulations, right?
No.
So you can start a false rumor, profit off of it, and have zero repercussion.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas you did that in equities, the FBI would come to your door.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore. I don't know what they're doing because people are doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But in crypto, there's no rules, right? And that attracts a lot of big money. And there's a lot of dirty big money out there, right? I know because I've traded for them.
Yeah.
Right. You look at remember dry ships, those guys were my clients before dry ships was invented. Stuff like that. There's a lot of people with a lot of sophistication and a big bankroll. And that stop run is evidence of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like a President Trump tweet.
Yeah. Or in this run, it's so it's an Elon Musk tweet. That's what we're getting at the moment with all of this. Have you heard of Dogecoin?
I had because we had Mark Cuban on our podcast.
Wow. Yeah.
And he was he was talking about it, and it's just I like Elon because number one, his mom's from Saskatchewan, so. We're proud of Elon. I like the way he just gets in everybody's face, right? Love him or hate him. I like how he changes people and he forces people and how he squeezed Tesla was brilliant.
Yeah.
He came out on the Joe Rogan show smoking a joint, telling everybody the stock was going to go to 420.
Yeah.
They shorted it all. Bailey Gifford bought every single share that didn't exist and they jammed it up everybody's throat.
Yeah.
It was one of the most beautiful short squeezes I've seen, probably since Vanderbilt squeezed Harlem Railroad in the 1800s. Elon, and he did it 100 years to the day, or pretty much to the month, when the Stutz automotive company did their short squeeze back in 1920.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that company, but they squeezed the stock from $50 to they say they squeezed the stock so hard in the 1920s that they delisted the stock. Otherwise, all the brokerage firms would have gone out of business.
Mm-hmm.
They would have taken them all down, and he had to settle in court with them to get them to cover.
Wow.
And Elon, I'm sure Elon has read the story. He's he didn't fall off the turnip truck just recently.
Mm-hmm.
He's a smart guy, and a short squeeze is very easy to engineer if you act, especially if the CEO acts like a crazy person.
Yeah.
That was actually in a movie called The Hudsucker Proxy with Tim Robbins, right? And it shows how you get a CEO to pretend he's crazy to drive the price of the stock down. You buy it all and then rip it.
Yeah.
Right. It was perfect. I love how he told the SEC to go pound sand.
Yeah.
I just love that part. You know, I like him.
That's the thing. This so this Dogecoin thing was all so it happened twice. So, and you can just see on the chart the days that Elon had tweeted about Dogecoin.
Well, look at that. Yeah.
They did it once back here, and we had a move up of 1,100% in 2 days. And then again, another tweet here. Within 4 days, it's up another 500%. And then what happened afterwards, and this was what was really, really good fun, is that the whole 420 thing happened again.
Okay.
So there was this big rumor that Elon's gonna. There were people thinking that he was going to add Doge to the balance sheet of Tesla and things.
Oh my God!
And on the 19th of April, we had this big move up on Doge that came almost back up to where the previous high was, with everyone going, "Oh, Tesla's, there's going to be another tweet tomorrow. It's 420 tomorrow. It's 420 tomorrow." What happened on the 20th of April? We had this massive move down then, and this was just the perfect short, because you can come up here. You've got such an easy invalidation at this point.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if it takes the highs, fair enough, I'm invalidated. But you can just go right short position, and then it's a 60% move down within a day.
Now, can you short this stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there are futures contracts that you can trade this. So you can trade against the US dollar. So it's a futures contract from the US dollar, which you can do on an exchange. So you don't hold the asset, you're holding, or you're holding a wrapped version of US dollar. So it's called US dollar tether. And it's like a crypto dollar.
That's what that is. Okay, I've heard of this.
So you can long and short all like this. All of these here. These are all altcoins really cool that you can long and short on Binance, which is one of the exchanges. It's it's good fun.
I remember a bunch of stock promoters they did these fake, crypto things.
Mm-hmm.
They'd raise money saying that they were going to have a crypto coin. This was, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, and they all got thrown in jail.
Yeah.
But I'm just remembering that and thinking, oh my God, how is this going to end up? And now I'm looking at a TPO chart of it. That's really cool. I like that, because now it's you've pulled back the curtain.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it. It's coming into that. You can kind of trade. It's taken a while for like the other altcoins and things to get into being liquid enough and being kind of tradable enough to do this. You can get Ethereum on here, so you can trade market profile on other alts as well. But
wow, cool.
Yeah, but I've only ever traded using market profile on Bitcoin. I've never really looked at the other alts, but it's something that is quite interesting as well. I've looked a little bit into Ethereum and things, but not so much yet. But it's getting to that time now where I guess there's enough, or there's starting to become enough liquidity in the market that you can start to trade this stuff seriously and not just be like, it was 4 years ago. A lot of it was just gambling. Whereas now you can actually see what's going on, which is really, really interesting.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely love to sit in with you guys, and have you guys come and sit in our room too. And, it's really, because I think, if our Bitcoin folks had had these charts, and I'm really glad that you're doing this because and so do you go on air every day and talk people through the market kind of thing?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah. So I do a video every morning, just an update
Perfect.
on Bitcoin and just what I'm seeing with the price action and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll use candlestick charts and I'll use market profile as well. So I kind of
Perfect.
a combination of it, and it's just really helping people to just understand where the levels are that you could be trading
Exactly.
off of. So it's not necessarily saying, oh, I want to take a long position here, I want to take a short position here. It's just like, here's how we can find the levels, or here's how I like to look at to find levels where we may see resistance, where we could see support, where there's supply, where there's demand, and all of those kind of things.
And the thing about any level, like if you look at my charts, I got levels all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, how does the market act when we get to that level?
Mm-hmm.
Because it'll tell us if there's a seller there or a buyer there.
Yeah.
All we have to do is observe how the price reacts at that level.
Yeah.
Right? Like no level is good until you slap it with some order flow and see how it reacts.
Yeah, that's it.
And then if it's a very mechanical sell-off and it's just inventory adjusting, like, like that L low that you're looking at right there that you had your mouse over,
Mm-hmm.
after it sold off, inventory corrected after it hit its high today and then went right back up.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's L period, right? Or K. I think it's K. Yeah.
Is that up here?
It's K period. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how we trade that is, if you see L period after K not being able to take out the low of K, your long is right there at the L low.
Yeah.
Your stop is right under K, and you're most probably going to go back to that high volume area where the K high is, right? Yeah. And you're out there, right? And in a futures contract, that's a nice decent trade with very low risk.
Yeah.
Because if it takes out that K low, it's telling you got a bigger seller.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting because these kind of moves around here are just they're the kind of things that I guess from looking at like a candlestick chart you wouldn't be able to see this.
No, it's an incredible amount of detail.
Mm.
Dalton calls it market generated information, MGI.
Yeah.
And the amount of detail you can get, especially the way we do it, is we take the volume profile and we put it next to that, and you actually see the actual amount traded.
Yeah.
Right. Like what you'll see on my charts, you could see the exact amount at that K low and see if there's a taper in volume. Because it might go, as it goes down every tick, it'll go 500, 200, and then 25.
Yeah.
And that's all the volume that prints at that low. And then the next period can't even get down there.
Yeah.
The selling shut off. Right. And if you get stopped out, it's not that big of an economic, risk.
Yeah, that's it. I guess it's interesting as well because there is that single print that's just below it there. And
there you go.
So if you go, so I was on 100 tick, but if you take it down to 50, then you got these single prints here.
There you go.
The top of it, and back up you go. So
did you see it? They've already been traded through, but on the retest, do you see how responsive it was?
Yeah, just this one, and then, so you have the move
right,
up
and
through.
The next liquidations can't even get down to those single prints, which is telling you like that liquidation in what period is that? The one after. Right there.
For some reason, all the text goes really
right?
small when I turn the tick size
right.
down,
Yeah, but in Q period, that liquidation couldn't even get down.
Yeah.
And take out the L low or get close to those singles. That means there's no supply and you can go long. Now, if this was an ES thing, your stop would be the singles, but in Bitcoin, because it's a big market, you have to figure out a bit of a better stop. Maybe the L low. Right?
Yeah.
Your L low would be your stop.
Yeah. The tricky thing with, and I guess this actually makes it a lot easier, because the thing that makes crypto trading a bit more difficult is the fees. If you're getting in at market, so we have fees of 0.75% of your order if you're getting in at market, or 0.075. But it's a pretty big fee to get in. But then you do get paid, so you get a rebate if you're getting in at limit. So these kind of things will help you to do that, because you've just given a level then, and if you know that okay, you want to trade one level above or one tick kind of area above, then you can do this kind of thing at limit, rather than having to, because a move like this, which may be 0.3% or something, if you're getting in and out at market, it's just the fees are going to eat you up. But that's
I didn't know that. See, in the micro contract, it's 78 cents round trip.
Right.
It's fixed commission, right? And in a mini, it's like $4 or $5 round trip. Right. So the commissions are really cheap. And especially when you're learning that's the one good thing about a futures contract. I didn't know what the commission structure was with crypto.
Yeah, so it's the fees are quite high at market. It's the great thing, if you can get in and out at limit, then you're getting paid to do that as well, which is good. So
that's even better, because I never use market orders.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying kind of how market profile can help, because a candlestick chart won't, like, you'd have to then be trading the reaction, and that means getting in at limit, right? Whereas with this, you can trade the level, and then you can get in a limit then, rather than at market, which is
that's perfect. That's a beautiful thing. I didn't even know it's even a better reason to use profile.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I guess, to it just encourages people to provide liquidity then, if you're encouraging people to get in at limits instead of at market.
And look at that, that I high is exactly right at the top of those single prints. Which is, if it can't break those single prints, it can't get into the next distribution, which means it lacks the order flow. So you're short there, and your stop can be just 1 or 2 ticks above the single prints. Right?
Yeah, it's
and then you know that you're looking for the H low, right? If you're short, say up there, you're looking at the H low, and if the market can't run the stops at the H low, you don't have any supply and you cover.
Okay.
Right? So Jay broke it.
Yeah.
So that caused a stop run of all the people long in H, and that took the K low down to those prints.
Yeah.
So you can use that as a cover.
Yeah. Yeah, it's God, the information that you can...
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
All it takes is living someplace cold where you don't do anything except stare at charts. Right?
That's it. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think because we've been live for 2 hours now.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So it's talking a lot.
But it's so I think, unless anyone has any other questions, I think it's 11 o'clock at night here for me, and but
I know.
But yeah, it's been amazing talking to you, and such a privilege to have you on and to share your knowledge and experience.
And thank you for your knowledge. This is great. I learned something new, and I got, I've got a way, to keep my crypto gang happy.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to figure something out and do this again in future.
Definitely.
We can.
Sounds great.
Yeah, Luke.
Yes.
Luke, if I may, I think we should tell Gigi the story between you and I, where we met, because we came from another Discord group.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how, I don't know if this was the case for you, Luke, but it was my case, and it is my case. And this is where I learned ExoChart. So I think it's fair to give a shout out to the guy that teach me ExoChart, the template, and etc. But just to be clear, that we don't steal, we don't sell any content from the other Discord group, and the EXO template that Luke just showed you, it's from Luke. It's not from any one member over there. Just to be clear, just to make a disclaimer, so we are not accused of stealing, selling anything.
Yeah. Okay, no,
just like that.
No, and it's there's nothing wrong with saying supporting a company, if they're doing a good job, and it looks like these guys are, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a pro of any company that lowers the barrier financially for traders. Because I hate seeing people get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And it's nice when somebody does something real, and it's good to see. It's really good to see.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah. Before we finish, Luke, can you show Gigi the Discord group, your Discord group?
Yeah, so
If
I
you
will.
can.
Yeah, I'll just bring this up. So
yeah,
we have.
So Gigi can see it.
Perfect. Yeah.
JJ, so this is there's probably a load of questions in here for you, but this is basically our so we have a Discord community, and this is where a lot of us we have our trading. So this is just general chat. We're not going to look at that, but we show our Bitcoin charts. We've got people within the group here, and just a lot of different ideas. And so there are people here that are trading off of just traditional candlesticks. But yeah, it's like that nice combination of a lot of education. So I posted earlier, if we were to merge the TPO from the range we were in, and we hit this range point of control and things, and how you can see the interaction between TPO and candlestick charts and things, which is
that's why I just run the VWAP, so you can see when they're buying the position and then holding the market up to sell it.
Yeah,
it's just basically all these markets are a big used car lot, right?
Yeah.
They sell you the car, they're like, come here, I'll give you a great price. And then they sell it to you for 30, and then you go back to sell it back to them. They're like, my friend, I'm sorry, my boss will kill me. I can't give you more than 20 for it,
Yeah, sure.
They buy it back at 20 and clean it and put it back on the lot at 35. It's just that's all they're doing all day long. These size traders, right? Against the order flow that comes in.
Yeah.
Luke, can you show quickly the Discord group again? Go to general chat, type my name from search.
I don't see it. I see just your software.
We just see the Excel chart now.
Oh, is this because I'm doing a screen share with what Zoom does.
We don't see the we don't see the Discord group yet.
Yeah, no, what Zoom does is it just takes the window that I'm on at the moment. So I'll JJ, I'll send you the because I've managed to bring it up onto YouTube, but you won't be able to see it on Zoom because it just it just shows the window on Zoom that we're on currently. So I cut unless I change it over, but yeah, we'll I'll definitely I'll drop you a message or something on Twitter or something.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can show you that. But thank you so much. It's been amazing talking to you, and thank you for sharing your knowledge. And it'd be great to do this again sometime.
Yeah, anytime. I love learning about crypto. It's and I can show you guys how to use these charts and wring every little piece of information out of it, and this is great.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I think I'll
thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to wrap this up now then. I need to go to the toilet and all of those things. So.
All right. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, JJ, and we'll speak to you soon, hopefully.
Good stuff. Have a great night.
All right,
thank you so much.
You too. Right. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right. I am going to. I'll keep the stream running. That was amazing, wasn't it? So what a session that was. I'm just going to pop indoors, grab myself some water, and I'll be back in a minute, and we can just have a little run through on the stream before I close it here. But yes, I'll be back in a moment, guys. Cheers. I'm back. Yeah, if who's still in here? Oh, we've still got everyone in here. Perfect. Wow. Tiger's just saying I forgot to cut the live. The stream's still on. I know the stream's still on. I was just gonna do a little yeah, I was gonna have a beer and stuff, and just have a general all right. I think what I'll do, just quickly, is I'm going to cut this stream now, but I'll start it up again. I just want to split it, so that then when this goes live, I can just edit off the end of this stream, and then we can just do a little beer hangout for everyone afterwards. So yeah, I was going to keep the stream going live anyway, and we can just go over some little things on the charts and just chill out for a bit. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. What an amazing guy. Yeah, brilliant. Cool. So yeah, if everyone's all right with that, I'm just going to end this now, and give me 5 minutes or something, and then I will set up a new one, and we'll just do a general like evening stream. And if anyone wants to join in again on Zoom and things, then we can do that. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and